So what do I sacrifice? Everything!
Star Wars is the story of Anakin Skywalker, his rise, his fall, his redemption, his death, and how the son he never should have had became the hero he always should have been. Over 2 trilogies, the story of this one family tells the story of the Jedi, of the galaxy, of the Force itself, of a shared humanity overcoming impossible odds to defeat tyranny and evil and fear and corruption by restoring the broken connections at the heart of the universe. A civilization, it turns out, is not so different from a family. Every story, no matter how epic, is focused on a small group of central characters, the heroes we love and the villains we hate, who come to represent the conflict of the entire world. All of Middle-earth is encapsulated in the quest of Frodo and Aragorn. The wizarding world has plenty of great characters, but it's nothing without Harry Potter and Voldemort. Even the Avengers ensemble is truly, at its heart, the story of Tony Stark. These heroes focus stories that could otherwise get lost in their expansive universes, and personalize messages and themes in a way we, as individual viewers, can intuitively understand. It's the same way that history, an immensely complicated subject, is often taught as the story of great men and singular events. We can't understand the original story of Star Wars apart from the struggle of Anakin and Luke. Star Wars is the Skywalkers. And yet, Star Wars is also so much more. There's a whole galaxy out there, living, struggling, fighting, dying. There's a civilizational conflict that mirrors the personal, spiritual one, and we only see the barest tip of it. What's the story behind the heroes? Of ideologies and armies, of weapons and words, of intrigue and betrayal, of tyranny and freedom and the hope of a better world. Who are the people who took up the fight? What drives them to risk everything in obscurity? And what does it say about the nature of true heroism? For a long time, we could only imagine. But then Star Wars quietly released a new trilogy that unexpectedly became the definitive story of the rebellion, and some of the best Star Wars ever. Ask any fan what the best part of the Star Wars movies is, and you're almost guaranteed to get one of 2 answers: the lightsaber duels or the big battles. These 2 features represent the pinnacle of the 2 sides of Star Wars. The lightsaber duels serve as the climax of the personal conflict between father and son, light and dark, love and hate. The big battles highlight the societal struggle that gives rise to the personal one: rebel versus empire, tyranny versus freedom, good versus evil. Both conflicts are necessary, and they overlap, but only insofar as the personal intersects the galactic. The original movies, naturally, zoom in on the heroes. The big moments of the rebellion are shown in spectacular battles, but beyond that, the war and the movement take place in the background. It's a shame, but there's only so much screen time available, and it's the peculiar destiny of any successful mass movement that the countless small acts of resistance will go unseen by history, and the people who set the change in motion will not be the ones to see it to conclusion. Justice demands an impossible price. Give up everything, your past, your present, your future, for the mere hope that someone else becomes the hero who overshadows you. Who can make such a choice? That's the question at the heart of Star Wars' overlooked trilogy: Andor Season 1, Season 2, and Rogue One. It's the question at the heart of every rebellion. Not everyone can blow up a Death Star or face down an emperor. Only some are called to be heroes who change the world through the force of will. Those are the ones who will win an eternal life of glory in the clash of lightsabers. For the rest of us, on that other side of Star Wars, who are willing to fight any battle and pay any price for freedom and justice and goodness and light, all of life is sacrifice.
The more you tighten your grip, Tarkin, the more star systems will slip through your fingers.
Rogue One opens with a man who seems to have nothing. Galen Erso lives a rugged, ragged life on a remote farm with his family. Then the Empire comes to take even that. And this is how rebellions begin. Not with noble sentiments and high-minded ideals, those come later, but with people who have lost it all. Totalitarian systems are inherently unstable, because they must constantly maintain an obvious fiction that what they are doing is necessary for some greater good. They rely on a sort of collective demoralization, lies repeated until the idea of truth becomes absurd. suspicion sown until any hint of trust becomes a threat, fear instilled until the possibility of resistance becomes ridiculous, people atomized until the collective action becomes impossible. Anyone who lifts their head is quickly stomped down, often at the hands of their friends and neighbors. The only safety is to remain invisible, never to draw the watchful eye of the state. Reality gets buried because the truth is dangerous to say, even to think. And you can push back reality pretty far this way, but you can never quite eradicate it. You can take a lot from a hopeless, fearful people, but the more you take, the more people will stop seeing the point of the lie. They will begin to admit the truth, if only to themselves. This is always the first act of rebellion. Once it occurs, any amount of additional oppression only strengthens the conviction, but the regime has no other recourse.
The Empire has been choking us so slowly we're starting not to notice. The time has come to force their hand.
People will suffer.
That's the plan.
Galen Erso is such a man. The Empire had taken a lot from him, but he was getting by, surviving, content to let the Empire work on its superweapon in peace, until they demanded too much. Having lost his family and his farm, he became a rebel. He gave up any hope of a normal life for a chance to sabotage a weapon he had always known was wrong. Rogue One is the story of his daughter, Jyn, walking that same path and coming to understand her father in the process.
You can stand to see the Imperial flag reign across the galaxy.
It's not a problem if you don't look up.
Despite growing up under Saw Gerrera, despite having every reason to hate the Empire, Jyn is no rebel. Her first instinct is to run, to survive. She agrees to help the rebels only out of a desire to go free and perhaps to find her father. When Saw confronts her, she says she doesn't care about the cause.
They wanted an introduction, they've got it. I'm out now.
But she's lying to herself, pretending that, no matter how bad the Empire is, it won't affect her if she keeps her head down. She doesn't have much, but she's not willing to throw what's left away to fight a battle she can't win. Not yet. That begins to change when a message from her father dredges up memories she had tried to forget and opens up the possibility of a connection she had thought long broken. She had a lot more to lose than she realized. More to gain, too. She joins the rebel mission to Edu, but her goal is still to help her father more than the cause. Galen, on the other hand, knows he is a dead man. His plan was never to survive. Living with the guilt and anguish, every day was a sacrifice to the goal of sabotaging his own life's work. He had already done what he could and accepted death on the platform in front of Krennic. It is only a cruel irony that Jyn would return to him on that same day. And yet, this too was a necessary sacrifice. Only with her father gone, with the rebels fractured and uncertain and suspicious, does she wake to the reality of her life. She cannot simply put her head down. Her father had tried that path and failed. His final wish is that she not make the same mistake. No one else will do it for her. No one is coming to help, not even the rebels. She boards Rogue One with a tiny band, ready to sacrifice it all for a chance. Also aboard that ship, Cassian Andor. While Jyn is our look at the rebels from afar, Cassian is our man on the inside. He's a spy, a saboteur, an assassin, whatever it takes. Andor Season 1 follows Cassian's journey, an extended version of Jyn's, from reluctant renegade to rebel agent. Rescued from his home planet at an early age by a couple of scavengers and separatist sympathizers, Cassian also grew up with a hole in his past, an early loss that would drive him on a search for purpose and meaning. But it's for safety and the money to secure it that he first finds the direction that will come to shape his life. Like Jyn, he has no love for the Empire, but, also like Jyn, he believes he can keep his head down. His adoptive home, Ferrix, and adoptive mother, Marva, are fiercely independent, but they've learned it's best to be quiet and hope the Empire doesn't notice you. This is the lie that animates the whole show. After succeeding in a grand heist, Cassian escapes to the resort planet with cash, comfort, women, and anonymity. He's free. Only, it's a lie. The Empire will never leave him alone. The totalitarian impulse must inevitably penetrate into every sphere of life. While he's keeping his head down, minding his own business, he's picked up off the street and falsely accused of creating civil unrest. Prison is what breaks him of all his illusions. The other inmates are content to wait out their sentence, watching their days tick down in silence and submission. Kino Loy, the floor leader who clearly cares about the people in his charge, nevertheless keeps everyone in line and working hard for the Empire, concerned primarily with not disrupting his upcoming release. But Cassian intuitively understands the truth of the situation. The Empire will never let them go. He's already plotting his escape when this fact is accidentally confirmed by a prisoner being returned to a different floor after his release. The lie admitted, a rebellion ensues. Kino leads the whole prison on a riot, sacrificing himself to show them a shore he knows he will never reach.
There is one way out. Right now. The building is ours.
For Cassian, this is a point of no return.
I'd rather die trying to take them down than die giving them what they want.
He can't lay on the beach any longer, but he can't quite commit yet either. He's got a mother and a girlfriend still to worry about on Ferrix, where the Imperial crackdown has stirred unrest in the independent populace. And so the stage is set for Cassian, like Jyn, to make a final choice in the wake of a searing loss, as everyone converges on the place where it all began.
But we were sleeping. I've been sleeping. I've been turning away from a truth I wanted not to face.
Marva Andor, who had once clung to Cassian, is the one who pushes him to give himself up. Her funeral speech proclaims aloud what has been happening within Cassian, within Ferrix, within the galaxy. The Empire thrives on people remaining quiet, staying in line, keeping their head down, hoping to be left alone. Fear silences them, puts them to sleep, but death has awoken her to the truth. And it's her example and sacrifice that sets Cassian free as well. As the people of Ferrix take up arms, Cassian has a chance to escape with his lover and friends, but he turns back. For him, there is no escape, there is no running. He can fight, or he can die.
Kill me. Or take me in.
That is his sacrifice, and he will soon learn just how great a price it requires.
And what do you sacrifice?
Cassian shows us the personal formation of the rebels. Luthen Rael and Mon Mothma show us the organizational formation. Mon Mothma is the heart of the rebellion. Luthen is its brain. While she raises money and support among the disaffected nobility, he supplies the weapons, intel, and cover to the people on the ground. The tension between the two is obvious, but each recognizes the other's necessity. Rebellions can't survive on high-minded ideals alone. It takes work. Dangerous, unethical, illegal work. When the whole system is corrupt, when the law is no recourse, when every power is aligned in its oppression, what choice do you have but to work outside the boundaries? And how can you separate what is justified from what is wrong? How will you fight a monstrous power without becoming monstrous yourself?
I'm condemned to use the tools of my enemy to defeat them.
This is the paradox of rebellion. Injustice for the sake of justice, war for the sake of peace, lies for the sake of truth. Is it worth it? This question haunts the show. Each character faces it in their own way. Cassian, the unquestioning soldier, has growing doubts as the deaths mount. The manipulation is revealed, the infighting continues, and the future he desires threatened. Mon Mothma clings to her ideals even as she sees the institutions she once trusted crumbling, her values wavering, and the dark forces closing in around her. Luthen struggles to maintain control as his own schemes bear fruit and multiply beyond his reach. And we haven't even mentioned Vel, or Lonnie, or Cinta, or Nimic, or Clea, or Bix, or Draven, or Wilman, or the Gormans, or all the faceless, nameless rebel soldiers and spies we'll never see. What unites people across the galaxy into a movement strong enough to take on an empire, and righteous enough not to repeat it? Luthen, as usual, has the answer.
So what do I sacrifice? Everything!
Sacrifice. There is no power to be had, no benefits to be earned, no happy ending promised. There is only the willingness, the necessity, to give it all away. Cassian must give up both past and future, his sister and his child. Mon Mothma must give up her ideals, her daughter's innocence, and her own. Luthen must give up his legacy, the status he both pretends and deserves. But he's always known he won't be the one.
I burn my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see.
It's the idealists who must survive. Men like him, creatures of the night, don't deserve to see the sunrise. His part has ended, and it's time for him to exit the stage. This is his final sacrifice, to fade into anonymity, unappreciated, killed by his own schemes just at the point he might have finally been free of them. because the rebellion must move beyond him. As long as it is fractured, shrouded by fear and secrecy and suspicion, working only in the shadows of the Empire, it will not have the strength to face the ultimate threat looming on the horizon. Rogue One shows us this final step of the rebellion's formation into what we see in A New Hope. In the beginning of the movie, distrust and division is the default stance. Cassian's first act is to shoot a friend and informant in the back to protect his intel. The message is clear: trust no one, not even the good guys. Mon Mothma doesn't trust Saw doesn't trust the pilot, Cassian doesn't trust Jyn, Draven doesn't trust Galen. Secrecy, backstabbing, redundancy, manipulation, dissension, these are the wages of Imperial oppression. It's dangerous to trust, to cooperate openly. Telling the truth will only get you killed. Even against the Death Star, they refuse to reveal themselves or commit their whole effort. Faced with the greatest threat the galaxy has ever known, offered a single, slender chance at its destruction, Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, and the rest, despite their high ideals, don't want to take the risk. They're too divided, too mistrusting, too afraid. They want to keep their heads down, waiting for a miracle. But no bright-eyed hero of light is coming to save them. Not this time. There's only Jyn, who has lost everything, to remind them of the one thing they should never sacrifice: hope. And the one thing they still must: fear.
Saw Gerrera used to say one fighter with a sharp stick, nothing left to lose, can take the day.
Andor Season 1 is a story of how people become rebels when pushed to confront the brutal truth. Season 2 shows the struggle to forge an organized rebellion out of passionate but fearful rebels born from increasingly brutal atrocities. Rogue One is the conclusion, where a single act of courage can spread throughout the galaxy and unite fractured alliances into a rebellion capable of taking down an empire. When Jyn proposes an attack on Scarif to find the Death Star plans, the Council argues and dithers. But Jyn, Cassian, and a tiny band of rebels decide to go anyways. They know it's a long shot, and that even if they succeed, most of them won't make it out.
If we can make it to the ground, we'll take the next chance. And the next. On and on until we win. Or the chances are spent.
But as Cassian says, these are men who have done terrible things, who have given it all for the rebellion. They can't just walk away. There's nowhere to walk away to. They have nothing to lose, and therefore nothing to fear losing. They disobey orders and blast out of the hidden base on a stolen ship appropriately named Rogue One. This is the first act of a new rebellion, and it inspires every part of the Alliance to action. Jyn and Cassian infiltrate the archives to steal the plans. The dozen or so remaining fighters spread out along the beach to draw the forces away from the base. But this was never going to be enough on its own. The Imperials soon respond, and the rebels are quickly overrun. But all hope is not lost. News of the attack on Scarif has spread, and the Alliance quickly makes its decision. No more debates, no more council meetings, no more planning. One by one, the rebel factions decide to make a stand. Everyone is ordered to Scarif to give Jyn and Cassian a chance. Blue Squadron delivers backup to the fighters on the beach. The fleet in orbit battles Star Destroyers and TIE Fighters in an attempt to take down the shield. The Profundity holds firm to receive the plans. The Tantive 4 stands ready to deliver them. Everyone must play their parts. Everyone must trust the others to play theirs. Jyn and Cassian are able to obtain the plans. Bodhi, Trut, and the rebels open the communications. The fleet destroys the shield generator. Raddus receives the data. Leia escapes to pass it along. The Death Star's weakness is exposed. It can be destroyed. All of the rebellion was needed to give the galaxy this chance. Almost all of them paid for it with their lives. The movie honors their sacrifice by not cheapening it. No one is saved by some contrivance. No lucky breaks are given. The plans are sent along in a trail of fire and blood. The heroes are consumed with the villains. It's a solemn moment, but not a sad one. For we know, of course, how this story will end. It is a victory, a triumph, the first day of the galaxy's salvation, when an oppressed people finally came together, sacrificing it all to fight against an unspeakable tyranny. And somewhere, in the company of many martyrs, Luthen looks down and smiles. Hey, I'm Dave. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, you'll love my series on the original trilogy. Start here. And subscribe to catch the next series on the prequels. See you later, nerds.